All right, so we are here in beautiful Copper Harbor, Michigan, USA, and we're going to go for a little paddle today.
Woo! Woo! I know.
You coming, Julia?
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? What's the first stop?
I think, let's see if we can't make it under the bridge
Yeah.
and then cruise on towards the marina. I think
Sweet.
that's a good idea. Head towards the west end of the harbor. We can wait for a second here. While we're waiting, we can do our shameless little plug for the Keweenaw Adventure Company, who helped set this all up. The Adventure Company is an awesome outfitter here in town, and they are committed to promoting human-powered recreation in the area. So that's biking, kayaking, hiking, all that kind of stuff. And what I like most about the Adventure Company is it's a group of individuals working as a team to promote things like education, stewardship, sustainable tourism in the area. And it just really serves as a good example of being able to connect people with the land and water. And I really love that about them.
And the sense of community that you get, not just with the staff and the company itself, but with the local community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's always nice when you have those Tuesday night shuttle nights, and it's just like all the boys and girls coming up from Houghton to enjoy the trails, and locals coming out for paddles, and yeah.
Yeah, and Matt hit it on the head. It's all about the community up here, and that's what we love about living here. Speaking of, we forgot to introduce ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Tyler. I'm a sea kayak guide with the Keweenaw Adventure Company.
And I'm Matt, and I've been a guide with the Adventure Company for the last 2 years, and a guide elsewhere for years prior. Unfortunately, my role won't be as significant as it has been, but as one of the co-owners told me, once you're part of the Kayak Pack, you're always part of the Kayak Pack.
Once you go kayak, you don't go back. All right, Julia's on the water, so
Woo!
let's go for a paddle.
Yeah. The Duck Island Bridge.
Duck Island Bridge. So this little spot we call Duck Harbor. It makes for a nice little calm, protected place to launch. We'll cruise on down.
It's a little known fact around the country, but this Duck Island Bridge, it is celebrated typically every Memorial Day weekend with the Duck Island Bridge Walk. People actually flock from around the country to celebrate this beautiful bridge. Typically, we have thousands of people coming up to enjoy it in all its splendor.
Now, Matt, is that event going to be canceled this year
Unfortunately, due to
situation?
the circumstances, yes. No. Please, if you're watching this video, do not try to attend the Duck Island Bridge Walk. Though it is magnificent, it is a small bridge, and the quarantine would not allow it.
So we're coming up on this bridge. Hopefully we're going to be able to squeeze under it. The water was up pretty high last year, and made it so you had to do a pretty low limbo to get under it. And we're actually noticing that the water seems to be a little bit lower than it was last season, wasn't it?
Significantly lower.
Yeah.
Like we actually got our liver back a little bit.
Yeah. So the water level seems down a little bit. I don't know if it'll go up as we progress into the spring a little bit more, but
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised with
That's
all
kinda
the spring melt that it's not still kind of super high.
My theory is that because we didn't have a whole lot of freeze over this winter, it allowed the water to kind of evaporate and lower down a little bit. All right, here we go.
Yeah, you almost might even like scrape right here now.
Squeezing under the bridge. Hold on to your hats. Oh, there he goes. Oh, here I go. Nice stretch.
It still is a little tight.
Ugh. Dust off the rust from winter.
I know.
All right, shall we continue on down west towards
Yes.
the marina?
To the marina.
All right.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much work the beavers have been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, we should check on them. Matt, that's a nice hat you have there.
Well, thank you.
Hey, question for you.
Sure.
Where does a Youper get their hat?
On to noggin.
On to noggin! The noggin! Get it? Okay,
Oh my god.
nailed it.
Wow.
Hopefully that's just more entertaining than it is. A bunch of people at home just like, okay.
Yeah, like, and we're out.
And exit video. Oh, we didn't introduce Julia.
We didn't. I was just actually wondering that.
Julia's with us. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Feels nice to stretch the arms, doesn't it?
Yep.
Stretch the arms, work the core. It's been a long winter, huh?
Yeah, no, it's, yeah, like I said, first paddle. It's feeling good.
Hello. Yeah, beautiful.
So coming up here on my left, we do have the Keweenaw Adventure Company staff house. Not necessarily inhabited in the wintertime, but during the summer months, you'll find guides there. They also have a Swedish masseuse on hand at any given moment.
Was that so?
So apply now if you'd like to live here.
So Matt, as we're just cruising along here towards the marina, can you tell us a little bit about maybe the things that you should do or the gear you might need to get out on the water safely like we're doing?
Yeah, well, obviously we're all kind of decked out. For starters, you definitely want a life jacket, or as they call it, a PFD, a personal flotation device. You never want to get out in the water without one. And depending on the body of water you're in, if you're expecting any sort of cold water immersion, you do want some protective gear for that. Tyler and I are both wearing dry suits because of the cold temps. Julia's wearing a wetsuit, and both are completely adequate. But you want to make sure that you have the necessary layering and gear that if you were to have a capsize, that the cold water is going to get to you. Also, if you're going out, something that we're doing right now, you certainly want to go out with friends, utilize the buddy system. And that way, if you do get into trouble, you have someone that can get you out of the drink. Did I miss anything?
No, that's pretty good.
Okay.
What makes these boats seaworthy as opposed to maybe some other kayaks you might see out there?
So, what the three of us are paddling right now are considered to be pretty much like standard sea kayaks. And they have bulkheads. So there's foam blockades that separate the bow or the front of the boat and the stern, the rear of the boat. And that gives the boat a lot of flotation. It's actually a misconception that your primary form of flotation is your PFD. It's actually your boat. Because even if any of us were to capsize, because of these bulkheads, our boats would still have a lot of buoyancy. So we can hang on to them, and that would be our primary source of flotation. And then it also makes them able to be rescued. You know, if you have a boat like the $300 Walmart special without a bulkhead and it fills with water, it's nearly impossible for someone else to rescue it, let alone yourself. So doing any sort of big water stuff, you definitely want a boat with bulkheads.
Agreed. Safety is the most important thing out there.
What's that?
Safety is the most important thing out there.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, so I don't quite remember, where was this beaver dam at?
It's pretty much straight ahead. It's going to be different because the water level's lower, but that cedar that's kind of like a crescent shape going up,
Yeah.
it should be right around there.
Okay. So we're coming into the marina here.
What's that?
Just narrating.
Okay.
Coming into the marina here.
Yeah, okay.
Good place to park a boat, hey?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I don't put my sea kayak in like a boat slip, so I don't
Yeah,
have a lot of experience with marinas.
I suppose one thing to consider if you are paddling, coming across the marina, typically any craft larger than you, which is pretty much every other boat in a kayak, has the right of way. So right now it's obviously pretty dead, but the summer when we paddle here, we definitely keep an eye out for boats leaving the marina, coming into the marina. You know, you always want to keep an awareness of other watercraft around you.
Yeah, that's a good tip. You never have?
I have not.
Huh.
Oh yeah, so see, yep, the lodge is dead ahead.
What a
That
treat.
kind of mangling of sticks. Last summer we could paddle, because of the water level, we could paddle in quite a ways. Looks like it's a little shallow now, but maybe we'll see some beaver chews. Yep, all right there to the right. That's all beaver chews.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Ecosystem engineers.
They are amazing critters.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like they got a chimney.
Yeah.
That bark.
They got a chimney. They got a little fireplace in there where they can kind of snuggle up and chill out after a long day of chopping wood.
Yeah, look at all those beaver chews.
Oh yeah, check it out.
They've been busy.
They've been eating, chewing.
Yep, just chewing.
They don't eat the wood, do they?
No, they do.
They just chew it. Do they eat it?
Yeah, no, they subsist mostly off of wood. Particularly bark. There's I forget the trees that they like, but there's certain trees with bark that they really like.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, there's the campground that I live at. There's been a lot of beavers being active, and they'll down trees and not necessarily use them to use for dams, but you'll see they're just like completely stripped of the bark, and you can see where they're just chewing it off and eating it.
So, okay. So we are at the far west end of Copper Harbor, west end of the harbor. And so what we're going to do now is swing back east and kind of hug the north shore of the harbor. And so that's made up of a piece of land called Hunter's Point. And there's actually a nice park on it. There's some hiking trails that kind of run down the narrow piece of land, so you can hike out to the point. It's not anything super long or strenuous, but if you're in Copper Harbor and you got some time to kill, it's kind of a nice little spot to check out. It's really pretty, especially on the Lake Superior side.
Yeah, you find a lot of agates there too. It's a good rock hunting spot.
Yeah. How submersible did he say these cameras were?
3 feet, I think.
Okay.
I don't think we should roll. I was kind of hoping to, but I was like, yeah. Well, also that might mess with the suction cups.
Well, they're not. They're more like tied down than they are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we kind of rigged them up with like a gear tie.
Maybe. I don't know. They're probably more than $20.
Probably. So Matt, it's springtime now, right? It's May.
Yep.
Kind of mid-May that we're out here. Is there a best time to come up and do a paddle like this?
The best time?
Yeah, like time of the year or time of the season.
Well, if you have the appropriate equipment, then pretty much as soon as the lake is clear. I mean, I also will add you should have the appropriate skill level and obviously a buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Paddling around the ice can be a lot of fun. But probably one of the best times is when the air temp rises a little bit more, in case you do have a capsize.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a best time. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
And it's nice, you know, whether you paddle in the spring, summer, or fall, you always get a little glimpse of something different.
Right.
I know I have noticed that there's, in the spring and fall, there's like all the migrating birds.
Yeah.
So those are cool to check out.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen loons in the spring or fall, but you see them in the summer, so those are cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think there's a What's your favorite time to paddle here?
I don't know. I kind of like late summer, August, and then even into September. That's generally some of my favorite times. Just because the water temperature is a lot nicer than it is right now.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
What do you think the temperature of the water is?
Yeah.
You just did the hand test.
Matt
has a perfectly calibrated hand for testing temperature.
I would guess 40.65 degrees.
40.65.
That would be my guess.
Pretty specific. But I would say that's probably a good guess.
Yeah.
Generally, this time of year, it's upper 30s, low 40s.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cold for water. If you go in, you don't want to be in long.
And according to NOAA, typically any spot in Lake Superior, if you go 10 feet below the surface, year-round it's about a constant 39 degrees.
Yeah. Is Noah a friend of yours, or?
Oh yeah, no, we had beers last weekend.
Noah is the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Association Agency, something.
Like National Oceanographic Atmospheric Agency. NOAA.
They tell us about the weather.
For how many times we check NOAA, we should like know it. You see it every time you get on the website.
It's in the little logo, I think. I don't know.
But yeah, I guess you guys watching, if you do want to try to check the weather and get a gauge on what the lake's going to be like, they do provide pretty accurate marine forecasts.
I always like this spot when you get that nice view of the town.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
And then as you go along and you look back, you can kind of see Brockway sort of rise up in the back.
I don't know why, as we get far enough along, for some reason I always really like seeing the blinky light.
Right?
It's like, oh, it's the one light in town.
The one light in town. It's always blinking. Yellow or red, depending on
which direction you're coming from.
on the direction you're coming from.
Wow, it looks like there's still snow on the shoreline.
Yeah, way down there.
Yep.
You can see a little bit. I remember my first tour last year.
There's a Boy Scout group, right?
I think it was a high school group.
Okay.
From down in Illinois. But it was out in Agate Harbor, and there was a little bit of snow still on the shoreline.
Yeah, and they couldn't believe it, right?
They couldn't believe it.
About?
I think they were from southern Illinois, even, somewhere that doesn't get a whole lot of snow. Did you guys see? Oh, so way up ahead of us. You guys see? I think he just surfaced. Was that a loon?
Oh, maybe. It could be. Either a loon or a cormorant. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, a loon or a cormorant. They are kind of similar birds, aren't they?
Yeah, they're both diving, fish-eating birds.
Yeah.
I used to guide with a... Yeah, that looks like a loon.
Yeah.
I used to guide with a... Well, you met Bubba, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I met Bubba.
Yeah, shout out to Bubba.
Shout out to
Bubba. I used to guide with him in Chicago, and he's from Alabama. And,
real Alabama sweetheart.
Down in Alabama, do you know what they call cormorants?
No.
Swamp turkeys.
Swamp turkeys?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
They do kind of look like they're up to no good, right?
A little bit. Oh, it is a loon. Right, you can see the white tuft on his
Yeah.
neck. First loon sighting for me, anyway, of the season. Welcome back, buddy.
Do you know what time they're migratory? Yeah. So, do you know what time about they usually do that migration?
I don't. And you know, I always assumed that pretty much all birds, especially up here, you know, are migratory. You know, surviving the winter up here would be pretty brutal. So I
Yeah.
did hear from a gentleman in town who's lived here for a long time that I'm friends with and do some work for. He told me this past winter that there's a group of Canadian geese that actually winter here.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't leave.
No, they just stay and they like burrow in the snow and like they got the long necks to get down. But you know, for some winters, you know, the snow's like 5 feet deep.
Yeah.
Like their necks aren't that long.
What do they eat?
I don't know. I asked him the same thing. He was like, yeah, but you know, he described it as this like particular flock got lazy.
These guys are just like, man, it's not even worth it. We're just gonna hang out here for 6 months
Yep.
till it warms up again.
Yep. Yeah,
There
I
you
don't know.
have
I'm somewhat skeptical, but he's a pretty knowledgeable dude,
Yeah.
and he's not one to tell tall tales. So
Copper Harbor, Michigan, home of the lazy geese.
lazy geese.
So we saw that beaver dam. What other types of animals do we have around here? We saw that loon. What other types of animals are commonly seen on tours? I know I've seen otter.
Yeah, otters. You see a lot of
Otters.
otters.
Otters, beaver, a lot of deer on the shoreline.
Yep, a lot of deer. Also, on a sunny day when it's calm like this, especially over by the marina, you know, the water's really glassy. It's not uncommon to see fish.
Yeah.
You know, splake and
hmm
different kinds.
Yeah, the water's so clear, it's really easy to pick them out. Bald eagles.
Yeah,
Seen
oh
a
yeah,
number of bald
yep.
eagles.
Yep.
Have you ever seen one like swoop down and catch a fish?
Haven't yet.
It's so cool.
Oh, I bet.
It's wild to watch. All right, so we are nearing the end of Hunter's Point here. We're coming to a little spot we call the Gap. And we call it that because it forms a gap between Hunter's Point and Porter's Island, which kind of stretches along, making up more of the north shore of the harbor here. And so I think what we're going to do is dip up to the north through the gap and run along the north side of Porter's Island. What do you think? Does that sound cool, guys?
Like what's calm enough?
Yeah.
Isn't it also sponsored by the clothing company? I thought that's why they called it the Gap.
What's that?
Isn't it also sponsored by the clothing company?
Yes. I was going to say something, but I didn't know. I'm not super familiar with how lawsuits work, and so I'm just thinking I might not go there.
Yep, just kidding, Gap. Sorry. Didn't mean to plug you.
All right, so let's come out through the gap. Some itty bitty tiny wave action here. We'll watch out for rocks. We are in open Lake Superior. Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So what we're looking at here is a dark basalt rock, and we can keep paddling through this rough section and I'll explain it once we get through.
I don't know, Tyler, do you think I can make it through that gap?
What's up?
Do you think I can make it through the gap?
Probably.
Alright. Look at all that ice, man. Lady.
That man is literally a trained professional.
What's that?
I said, this man is literally a trained professional, so...
Yeah, no, it takes a lot of skill.
Don't try this at home, or Copper Harbor.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the double black diamond blind choice.
Yeah. That was the downtown.
Yeah.
Porter's Island.
That was the downtown of kayaking routes.
Look, Lake Superior Pirates to our left.
All right, so now that the water is a little cleaner here, not quite so messy, Julia asked about the rocks that we have on our shoreline here, and those rocks that Matt was paddling up against, that was called basalt. So this area has a really unique geological history, and about 1 billion years or so ago, this was actually the site of what we call a mid-continental rift. And so basically what was happening is we had we had this landmass, right, and a big crack was kind of starting to form in it. And so parts of the land were then pulling apart from each other. And as they pulled apart from each other, all this hot magma from the middle of the earth, from the mantle, kind of starts to move upwards and come up through that crack. And so when it did that, it brought all these lava flows, right? And so that's what that basalt is. It's an igneous rock. If you remember back to 5th grade science, igneous rock is produced inside the earth as magma, right? And then when it hardens, that's when we get this basalt here. So that is all remnants of that. The mid-continental rift never fully formed, so it never broke our continent apart. It just kind of started and then sort of came to a stop. But anyway, actually really fun kind of cool fact is that as those lava flows came out, it's the same rock that we see here in the Keweenaw. It's the same as the rock that we see up on Isle Royal. And so you can kind of imagine it coming up through the center of Lake Superior. Now, Lake Superior wasn't really there at the time. But as that magma came up in this area and spread out, it formed the rocks that we see here in the Keweenaw and Isle Royal at the same time. So if you go up to Isle Royal, you'll also see a lot of that super dark volcanic basalt type rock. So that's your little geology lesson for the day.
Nice. Nasty
If
Cove.
there's any geologists watching, I hope I got that right. But we're going to come into a little spot here that we like to call Pasty Cove. And so it's just this little nook in the north end of Porter's Island. It doesn't lead anywhere, it's a dead end, but it's a really cool spot. So this rock that you see here in Pasty Cove, that is not basalt. That is not an igneous rock. It's conglomerate, and conglomerate is sedimentary. So that means that, like, over time, as the rock layers got worn down, and ground up, they were sort of re-cemented as this conglomerate rock here. And so you can see, as we kind of drift in, it kind of looks like a whole bunch of individual little rocks all sort of cemented together, like they're all kind of glued together. And that's this conglomerate. So we have igneous, we have sedimentary rocks. Does anyone remember the other one? Think way back to like 5th grade.
Oh, man.
What letter does it start with?
M.
It's not molten.
No.
That's the state of.
Yeah.
Wrong blank.
Metamorphic.
Metamorphic, that's what it is.
Yeah. So when things get like compressed or put under pressure, or altered in some way like that. Hopefully you clicked on this video to learn something. Alright, so that's Pasty Cove. What do you guys think? Snack break? Water break? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, let's have some water.
Little shameless plug for water. Water's great. It keeps you hydrated and working well. And I always have it with me kayaking. When you're doing a trip like this, it's always a good idea to have water and snacks with you, so you just stay energized and on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and even like colder temps like now, like, I don't know about you guys, I'm not sweating at all, but still got to drink water.
Yeah.
Makes you feel good.
Yep.
All right, are we moving onward?
I'm good to go. Julie, are you good to go?
Yep.
Cool. Take us out of Pasty Cove, Matt.
What's that?
Take us out of Pasty Cove.
Here we go, baby. cameras can see these quartz things.
Yeah, I don't know.
And there's still a whole lot more snow than I thought there'd be.
Yeah. Same. Alright, so we are continuing eastward on the north side of Porter's Island. It's a little bumpy out here.
A little bit.
Not too bad.
I think it was up until like 1 or so, they did have a small craft advisory. But based on the wind, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. So it's pretty calm. It's nice waves.
Look at that wash tub of water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna scoot into another little cove here. This one does kind of cut through Porter's Island. Try to avoid any scrapes, it gets a little shallow. I think Matt's going to try to catch a little ride in on a wave here. Nah, he missed it.
No wave.
I don't know about you, but I was trying really hard not to whack the camera with my paddle
It's
as I was coming in.
it's so much easier for me because I have a much shorter stick.
Yeah. I was like...
I have hit it a couple times. Sorry, Jason. Hit your camera a couple times.
Sorry, Jason. We're trying our best.
Yeah.
Okay, so We are gonna cut through this little cove. And as we do, we are looking out towards the, that would be the east end of the harbor. And we can see the Copper Harbor Lighthouse in the distance.
You want to paddle to the lighthouse?
I think we could.
Yeah.
Julie, are you up to paddle to the lighthouse? Cool. Let's do it. And I'll tell you about it.
Should we, wait, can we buzz by Gull Rock?
Sure.
Let's do that.
Do you want to go on the south side of it, or?
I kind of want to see if it's possible to start on the north and go through that little gap.
Okay.
But I don't know what the water level. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah. Matt wants to shoot a little gap between these rocks here.
Is that the gap right? Yeah, there it is. Is this the only one, Tyler, or are there two? This is the only one, right?
There's two, I believe.
That's what I was thinking. Well, this one looks doable.
What's that?
This one looks doable.
Yeah.
Can I go first?
Sure. Alright, so we are going to shoot this little gap here. It's a little bouncy, but we should be good. Wow, look at that. Yeah! Woo! That probably looks like really lame on camera.
Yeah, no.
That was cool. I thought it was cool.
I had fun.
Alright. Oh. Oh boy. That one was on you.
You ever wonder how like trees like that are still alive?
Yeah.
Wow.
Seagull droppings.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a seed in seagull droppings? I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's, I'm sure they're high in nitrogen.
Yeah. That's crazy to me though that like there's some plants that can survive out on these rocks.
Yeah. Like, there's no soil.
That's a really harsh environment
Yep.
to deal with. So props to you, little tree. You're killing it. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Absolutely. I think it's safe to say that trees, we all got its back.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you kind of look like the Lorax. Speak for the trees.
Yeah, yep. That was Ash's nickname for me.
Yeah.
She's going to the Olympics, right?
Something like that. I don't know what the current situation is exactly with COVID.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know how that's changed things exactly. So we are crossing the mouth of the harbor. We're headed towards the lighthouse, and I think it's one of the cooler lighthouses on Superior. And not just because I'm a little biased, but
No, it is very cool.
Yeah, it was the second lighthouse built on Lake Superior. Number 2.
Yep.
In the late 1840s it was built. And that's actually not the one we look at right now. So the actual brick structure, I believe was the 1860s. That was kind of built in place of the original one when the original one kind of fell apart. And then the steel tower that actually serves as the light now, that was not put in until the 1930s. And so there's kind of been a number of different lights kind of on this little point here.
And I did hear a rumor over the wintertime up here that there's talk of starting the lighthouse tours up again.
Really?
Yep.
That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few folks watching that might want to come up who don't already know. The lighthouse is actually only accessible by water.
Yeah.
There's no public road to get to it.
Mm-hmm. Right. It is technically, it's owned by the state park, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Fort Wilkins State Park. But there is not a public road to get to it. So currently what we're doing is just about the only way, huh?
Yep. Yeah, years past, I guess they have the boat tours.
Yeah.
And that's what they're looking to start back up.
Right. Yeah, they used to have the boat tours there, but not anymore. That would be really cool to see that happen again.
Yeah, yep.
What else can we talk about while we're scooting along here? This seamless conversation.
Yeah.
Just so smooth. I guess we haven't touched on history too much, right? We haven't even talked about copper mining yet.
No, that's a big thing up here.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they call it Copper Harbor.
Makes sense. They mined copper, and it's
Sure
a
did.
harbor.
Yeah,
What a great name.
yeah, Tyler, this was like one of the first spots that people landed to start, mining operations, right? Even before there was a road here.
Yeah. Especially because there wasn't a road here, and boat was the main form of travel throughout the region. Having like this perfect protected harbor, this natural harbor here, was extremely valuable for those early miners that were coming to dig up the metal. Although, when I say early miners, I think it's really important to note that actually, like, the Native American people were mining copper in this region for hundreds and thousands of years, actually prior to kind of this modern sort of mining age.
Sure, yeah, yep.
Yeah, and so if you hike around in the woods, you can still sometimes find these little pits that they would dig and pull up copper, and they would use the copper for tools or jewelry, and it would get traded all around the Midwest and in some cases even further.
Well, and something that's kind of curious to me too is thinking about, like you said, hundreds, if not thousands of years that Native Americans mined, as well as Western settlers mining up here. Still to this day, you can walk around Copper Harbor and just find chunks of copper.
Yeah.
Like, think about how much copper was there when, like, the first people that, the natives were mining. Like, so they're just like, did the ground just look bronze?
Yeah.
Was there that much copper?
Probably not that level. But there was
boy
quite
can
a
dream,
bit of it.
Tyler. Boy can dream.
But yeah, so the copper boom lasted, this modern copper boom lasted a really, quite a long time. So it started in, the 1840s, right? That's kind of when things started to ramp up. They started finding it. Michigan became a state in 1837. And so with that, they got the Upper Peninsula, acquired it as, I think what they thought as a consolation prize for the Toledo War, but it actually ended up being hugely valuable, and I don't know, I'd rather live here than Toledo, say that.
Yeah, I would fully agree.
I think we got the better end of that deal.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about.
Oh, about the copper mining industry.
Oh, yeah. So, a man by the name of Douglas Houghton, who was our state's first geologist, he was also a doctor. I think he was... I don't know, I'll leave it at that so I don't accidentally say some incorrect information. But this man did a lot of stuff. He was a really important figure in Michigan's early statehood. And so one of the things that he did was he led a geological survey in the Upper Peninsula. I think he led a couple, actually, and was kind of one of the first people to really sort of write about and document all the copper up here, and that was kind of what sort of kicked things off. So that was, like I said, 1830s and 40s time frame, and so you see all these places around here that are named after him. You have Houghton, the town of Houghton, about an hour south of here. Houghton is home to Michigan Tech. One of their residence halls is called Douglas Houghton Hall. You have Douglas Houghton Falls, is a waterfall not too far from here. It's the tallest waterfall in the state of Michigan. A number of other things. Oh, you don't believe me?
I thought the tallest one was in Madison.
Okay, well,
That's what I
maybe
agree to disagree.
agree to disagree, or maybe someone can both fact check that when we get home.
Okay.
Well,
Also, Doug, he was like a super ambitious entrepreneur, right?
Doug, you're on the first name basis.
Yeah. I don't want to misspeak anything, but his death was kind of testimony to that.
Yeah.
He was running a supply shipment, right?
Yeah, it was supplies or mail or something like that.
And it was in the fall, and so the gales were up, and he was highly recommended to not go, but because of his ambition, he said, nope, we're going. And they were heading from here west, right?
Yeah.
And wasn't it somewhere around Eagle Harbor, Eagle River?
Mm-hmm.
And the waves are so big, he and all of his crew died.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to deliver either supplies or the mail or whatever it was.
Pretty tragic. He didn't live to see all the influence that his discoveries and his travels ended up.
Well, yeah, he kind of laid the
leading to,
foundation, but he wasn't around to see the house get built.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, so the metal mining time up here lasted over 100 years that they were pulling up copper from the ground. And I don't know, really every community on the peninsula is in some way tied to that industry, whether it was like a port town or it was an actual mine site, or maybe it was, offered commercial goods like, I don't know, grocery stores and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it is an important part of the history and the culture here for sure.
Absolutely.
Lake Superior is quite big, isn't it?
It's very large.
I think every time I go out paddling on Lake Superior, I look out at it, and every single time I'm struck by how big it is.
Yeah.
It's such a massive body of water.
It's very much ocean-like.
Yeah. Very much
Did
ocean-like.
we already bring up how wet Lake Superior is?
I don't think we have.
It's beyond being massive. It is also one of the wettest Great Lakes.
I've heard
right?
that.
In the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a statistic actually that Lake Superior is just as wet as every other Great Lake combined, plus a couple Lake Eries.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
I never heard that. I just knew that it was the wettest.
Yeah.
Wow. Every time I go out for a paddle, I learn something new.
Yeah. We learn something new every day. Do you see that giant quartz vein that you just floated over?
Yep.
That was really cool.
Oh, that's such a cool noise.
Yeah. Sound of Mama Superior.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. That is.
All right, what do y'all think? Head back across the harbor?
Yeah. Do we want to just head straight to the coast, or?
Head for the range light?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, it's like dead ahead, right? Where my boat's pointing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of right next to the lighthouse overlook. We could go up the creek.
I was thinking about that. That's like pretty much straight south of where we're now.
Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, we can do that.
I don't know. I'm not on a schedule.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Is that cool with you, Julia?
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah. How long have we been paddling now, Matt?
What time did we launch?
We launched at right about 4:30. Okay.
So I got 5:46.
Okay.
Is that the time you got?
Actually, I think it was later. Sorry. We are very professional.
Yeah, normally we're more on the ball of time. We're just we're not on the schedule today. I don't know, Tyler. I got about like 20 minutes left to me, and then you're probably gonna have to tell me.
Okay. We can just head up the coast then.
I'm just kidding. Let's check out the creek.
I think we've been paddling for about 45, maybe.
That's what I would guess.
We didn't really
It's
stop
got pretty
much.
good clip. No, we didn't.
Alright, so now we are cutting south, back down to the south shore of the harbor. Yeah, I messed up the time a bit. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
My camera's been recording for an hour and 12 minutes.
That's kind of what I was gonna guess.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's okay.
We all make mistakes. We're all human.
Yep.
You should maybe go.
Meandering back.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Which is another kind of neato paddling tip. If you do decide to go out, you always tell someone on land. And kind of set up a time frame.
Yep.
Because if you overshoot it, like right now, Jason's probably wondering, like, oh, I wonder where those guys are. And if we way overshot it, you might be like, oh, I got to call the Coast Guard. So always have a land buddy to let you know what your float plan is.
So we've altered our course a little bit.
What's that?
We've altered our course a little bit,
Yeah, yep.
but
More of a straight shot.
still crossing over the harbor, so we don't... Generally, you don't want to spend too much time hanging out in the middle of waterways, but
No.
it's not exactly busy, is it?
No, it's pretty quiet. Yeah, no, it's not very busy at all.
Like I said earlier, I just love that view of Brockway as you're coming back in.
Yeah, yep.
It just rises out of the ground.
Especially for the sunset tours,
Yeah.
it's pretty epic.
We are cruising pretty good.
Yeah, we're in a pretty good clip.
I'm getting warm.
Yeah, no, I'm rusting.
Not much to say right now.
Nope.
Just working.
Yep. But that's okay. It's one of the things I really love about paddling is just like the calm and quiet, you know?
Just take it in. Aim for the harbor house.
What's that?
Aim for the harbor house.
Yeah, that sounds good. cruising.
Yeah.
What kind of bird do you think that is, you guys?
I didn't see it.
It's right up there. Is that just a crow, or? It kind of looks like a raptor of some kind.
Yeah, hard to say. It does look like some sort of hawk.
Yeah.
The way the wings move.
Yep. Man, it was only a couple days ago that I saw the first bald seagull back in the harbor.
The first bald seagull, huh?
Yep, first one.
Wow. Oh, do you see that? Right ahead of us?
Oh, that is a bald eagle. Oh no, it's a goose. That's not a bald eagle.
It's a goose, but
Oh, I thought you said it was a bald eagle, and I saw the white. I was like, is it?
no,
The
I
glasses
just
are all steamed
no.
up.
I just thought it was cool that it was flying out in front of us like that. That's all.
For sure.
I know what a goose looks like.
I know what a goose looks like. Oh, there's that loon again, probably. Dead ahead.
Oh yeah, following us. So we're just coming back into town now. Going right by the harbor house. Awesome place to eat if you are hungry and in Copper Harbor. That was a pretty lively jaunt across the harbor there, huh?
It was, yeah. No, I'm definitely, for first time back on the water, my abs are feeling it for sure.
Yeah, we were cruising.
Yep. No, my glasses got all steamed up.
realized we were supposed to meet back at a certain time, and that time was quickly approaching, so we stepped on the gas a little bit.
Yep.
Oh wow, do you see that?
Oh, the
The little wall there?
yeah, oh, wow. No, I didn't.
Wow, is that winter damage?
Yeah, it's definitely erosion damage. The part that's still built, that was built just this past fall.
Oh really?
Yeah, yep. So I wonder if it was like that, and that's why they had it built.
I was gonna say it looks kind of unfamiliar, like I didn't remember there being a little wall there. But if it was built in the fall, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it broken last summer. But it's definitely, yeah, it's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dock too, it needs to be repaired.
Yeah.
Needs a little work.
Yeah, I guess this one's closed until further notice.
All right. Bringing it back in around Jamson's and the Isle Royal Queen Dock. Usually there's a big boat sitting there. Hauls people to and from Isle Royal National Park. Man, if Jamson's were open right now,
Oh my goodness.
I would eat a dozen thimbleberry donuts, probably.
Yep.
On top of like scones.
I would really enjoy a
Turnovers.
turnover right now.
Those are
Or
Yeah.
like, my favorite one is the maple glazed donut with the bacon
Mhm.
crumbles on it.
Yeah.
And we were talking to the ownership before we launched, and if you guys do come up and visit Copper Harbor this summer, they will be doing takeout through a window at the side for your enjoyment and safety. So they will be around.
I would just
It
get
wouldn't feel right
a mountain.
if Jamson's wasn't around. You know?
Yeah. Every day I get like I feel like I'm there. Not every day.
It's typically one of my. It's like morning isn't right without a cup of coffee at least from them.
Yeah. Yeah, the coffee is great too. Yep. Can't beat it. Sit on the dock, dangle your feet in the water.
Yep.
Oh boy. Alright, so we are coming back in here to Duck Harbor, where we started. We've come full circle. That was our little loop of Copper Harbor. That took us about an hour 35 minutes.
Yeah. Which is pretty quick.
Yeah, not too bad. Probably been quicker if it weren't like jib-jabbing the whole time, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't a race.
Nope, not a race at all. Pretty solid loop. A lot of stuff to see, and there's a lot that, if we didn't crush it on the way back, there's a lot more stuff we could have checked out, like the creek and all that.
Yeah. Next time we'll hit it. All right. That's it.
All right, back to land.